and that it was going to put money, essentially, the one who came out, the winner of that election, was going to be the one tasked with putting money back into the pockets of Kenyans. That's what the promise was.
Indeed.
So then I hear you almost advocating for that theme to be re-invited into the political conversation now moving forward. That what is it going to be about? Is it making sure that Kenyans then, is it the rule of law? Is it just social justice? Is it ensuring that certain things are done? But you seem to want it to coalesce around something, a statement that some people can follow. But I want to come back to some of the things that you mentioned. If we were to look at the coast region, for example, somebody made a suggestion last week that each leader ought to stand on the promises that they make and give evidence of those things having been done. And perhaps that is then what Kenyans will coalesce around and say, Barrack said that he was going to build a dam. He did. He said that he was going to make access to education more available to everybody. He did, or he did not. If we look at the coast region, every county, as you say, had a charter. Mombasa, there was going to be the expansion of the blue economy. This is what President William Ruto said, that the port-linked manufacturing and logistics was going to be a reality. That there were going to be affordable housing projects, that there was going to be SME financing through the Hustler Fund, and that there would be market modernization and tourism revival. Well, a lot of those things are in the public arena. Let's go to Kwale. The Dongo Kundu infrastructure integration was going to be a reality. Beach tourism would be expanded. The fishing industry would get support. Water access projects then would also be a reality. And the coconut and cashew industries would be revived, and there would be value addition. In Kilifi, salt and mining industry support again was going to be a reality. There would be irrigation agriculture. There would be tourism infrastructure. The roads would be upgraded, and fisheries development would take place. That's just Kilifi. Tana River. The Garissa Kulalu Irrigation Revival Project was going to happen. Livestock value chains then would be a reality. Drought mitigation projects would come up. I think we've just come out of one of the worst droughts in Kenya's history. Water storage infrastructure would be established. Water infrastructure, we're looking at things like dams and water pans and things like that. Rural road connectivity was going to happen until 80% is the number that was given. Lamu, the LabSet corridor implementation, not idea birthing, implementation. Port logistics jobs were going to be created, fishing infrastructure, tourism investment, security and transport links. And then we'll stop in Taita Taveta, where there was going to be a formalization of the mining sector. Wildlife tourism would be expanded. Taveta irrigation schemes would be established, and road and border trade projects would happen. This is just the coast, the 6 counties of the coast. There are 41 other charters that were done, but this is the gist of those. It's good for us to say these things out loud because they were documented in terms of how they were going to happen. One would say that what you're saying now is you then have no business asking Kenyans to give you another round at the rodeo if these things, and this is not pie in the sky, these are things you said and were documented. If these things you said you were going to do were not done, do you have any business asking Kenyans to give you another shot?
Precisely. That is what I am saying, that that should constitute the conversation. That there are these instruments which the president, the current president, placed before us as a sacrosanct, deliverable, promissory notes, and which were forgotten, or they seem to have been forgotten, as soon as he brought down the Bible. As soon as he started waving the sword of the commander-in-chief, which he says is not meant for cutting vegetables. And we are saying that instead of telling people that they are very fat or very thin, instead of telling people things about gastric activities in their alimentary canal, instead of talking about people who do not go to the gym and stuff of that kind. His Excellency the President should be going back to the town halls where he went with the audit reports and juxtaposing the audit report with the promissory notes. And the political opposition should be interrogating those instead of saying things about whose ears are flying into which direction. And instead of talking about, and you know, certain things may be true. I may have ears that sit in a certain way. They do not add value to the citizen's life. I may be the fittest fellow who goes to the fittest gym, or I may be the most wobbly. Those are things that are irrelevant. When you start calling people stupid, brainless, crooks, criminals, first, if you are the president and you know that somebody is a crook or a criminal, you occupy one of the most critical spaces, cause them to have their day in court, cause them to face the law. And the political opposition can also do the same.
Yep.
It is not enough to say things like, we are going to take William Ruto to the ICC because he killed Gen Zs. When are you going to do that? Now is good a time as any. Take his matters before the International Criminal Court. But back more to the issues that you have just walked us through a catalogue, and you promised us this. You haven't delivered. You have digressed from those promises. You seemed to have a plan, and you even called it the plan. You used the definitive article the plan.
Not a plan.
Not a plan.
Yeah.
It was the plan, and it had its 5 pillars. And from those 5 pillars, you are able to extrapolate and give us more other pillars to support the plan. But what are Kenyans saying? Kenyans are saying a president who goes to Emurua Dikir to attend a funeral, sits there for 6-7 hours, which is a very extravagant way of spending our time, because the 7 hours that the president spends there should be multiplied by the 50 million Kenyans to determine how many hours have been lost. And when you are in Emurua Dikir, the local what is he called, senator, says that they want a university in that area. On the spur of the moment, you say that I'm giving you 20 million and I will give you another 100 million next week, and within the next 2 months we will give you $1 billion so that you build a university. You move from there, you go to Ol Kalou, and the same theme comes up, and you tell the people of Ol Kalou, here is 20 million to kickstart the project. Next week, we'd like you to start building the administration block. Now, those are voodoo economics. That is what is called voodoo development. That is what Idi Amin Dada of Uganda used to do when I was a young man growing up in East Africa. That he would say, you are Dennis Aseto, now you are the governor of Central Bank of Uganda.
Go print money.
You go and print money. And these people have asked for a new railway line to link this Nairobi to Machakos. Start that tomorrow. We are coming here to break the ground. That is not development. That is what in biology they would call a spontaneous a spontaneous growth or development, because you see we